Hey guys, Claire here. I get lots of questions about the laundry that we did in our new house. And so today what I thought I would do is just a little tour around the laundry, tell you a little bit about what we did, what finishes I've used, what sizes, what dimensions things are, just in case that's handy for your own renovations, and the little products and stuff that I've used all around the place. So that's what I thought I'd do. Now, this laundry was pretty inexpensive. I got a really inexpensive joiner to do this joinery based on some designs that I put together. And I think probably all up it cost us about, I'd want to say $15,000. So that's pretty cheap these days for a renovation. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I kept the cost down. Part of it had to do with not using a very expensive joiner. Because of that, I don't have the most high quality joinery, but it's just the laundry, so I'm not super worried about it. So let's talk a little bit about all the different things. So the first thing is we've got these really nice floor tiles. They're sort of like a concrete look tile, and they're from Di Lorenzo. And yeah, I just really like those because I like how they have that sort of natural concretey fleck in them, but I like that they're not grey. I like that they're like a greyish sort of a colour. I just sort of preferred that at the time. I've done a lot of grey tiles in my houses recently. And then the other thing that I did that was cheap and easy was to actually swap out our door handles on all the doors. So we used to have these really ugly silver chrome, old-fashioned sort of daggy door handles. So I just have swapped those out with these matte black ones from the Lock and Handle, which is where I normally get them from. And these are pretty cool actually. They've got, you can see a magnet system. So they open and close with that magnet. They open in the same way, but they have a nice magnetic mechanism. So yeah, that's the two. Oh, and then the other thing is up here, I changed out the light fittings as well. So we had super ugly, the square ones with the silver surround, LED sort of things. So I took those, I've swapped those out for these just, simple LEDs. I got those from Beacon Lighting, I think. So that was another way to keep the cost down there. And then we haven't tiled the whole room. This is just a painted wall here. That keeps costs down in a laundry, so you don't need to tile the whole space necessarily. Got a PowerPoint down there, which is really handy for using with the iron, because we put the ironing board out here when we're doing ironing, which is not very often because I don't do ironing very often. So that's that. Okay, so the other thing I've brought in with me today is my trusty digital laser measurer. And the reason I brought this in is because I know lots of you are going to ask me about the dimensions of this laundry. So I'm going to do some quick measurements. Now, if you don't have one of these, but you do a lot of measuring, if you're a designer in particular, 100% go and get one. But even if you do a lot of home renovation projects or things like that, you'll find this really handy. So this is the GLM 7000 Professional. And basically, I'll show you how easy it makes measuring up a room. So this room, for example, I'll just put it against that wall, and then if you press it once, it will put the laser pointer over onto that wall. I don't know if you can see that moving around there. And then we press it again, and it will just measure the room for us. So this room is 3.22 meters wide. That's a great width for a laundry. That's what I usually try, and if you're designing something from scratch, I think 3 meters is a really good width to aim for, because you can fit a good length of some tall cabinetry, and then obviously your washer dryer and your sink over there, which I can talk to you about in a minute. So 3.22 for that if you're interested. And then over here, this section here, we can do again is, and again we're pointing over to there, that's going to be about 1800 because that's, yep, so oops, just disappeared, but it's 1803 because I always do this section in a width of about 1800 because that accounts for your 600 for your dryer, 600 for your washing machine, and then 600 or so, whatever's left over for your sink and your under sink cabinet there. So the height here is probably about 920 or so. I'll do that for you as well. It's a bit camera. See how we go. Okay, so that is 900 exactly, so that's fine. Sometimes I go a little higher. With that, it really depends on who your clients are. The builder's clearly just made a decision on that, that's fine. And yeah, but not between 900 and 920 I normally make my benches. We have a condenser dryer in here because I pretty much have the dryer running non-stop because we are a very large family. But you have caught me on a day when I had no washing on either my hanging rack or in my washing machine or my dryer. Actually, I've got a whole load, I'm lying, that I'm about to put on when I'm finished here. But because of that, I never hang washing out on the line because I'm too lazy and it just takes too much time. So this condenser dryer is really good because it goes all the time. It uses its own water, I think. I don't really understand how it works, but it uses its own like water to stop too much condensation and is a little bit more efficient, luckily. The bench top here is Caesar stone and it's called Fresh Concrete, and I really like this finish. I use it a bit. It's got like you can see a natural sort of stone fleck, I guess, in it. It's also a matte finish, so it's not shiny like many of the concrete of the Caesar stone ranges, and I really like that about it. This I kept costs down because this was actually an offcut of a larger piece that the stonemason had. So that's a really good tip if you're trying to do stuff on a budget. Ask if they've got any offcuts and stuff because you can normally save yourself a lot of money that way. So it had actually some imperfections in it as well, which I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera, but I didn't care because it was just going in my laundry and I saved a lot of money that way. So I think this offcut was only a few $100s versus thousands for natural stone normally, because you'd normally have to buy a full slab in order to get the piece that you need. So it's a little tip for you. The sink here I've talked about quite a bit before on my Instagram and things. This is from IKEA. So I use this in pretty much every laundry. Laundries for me, laundries in our own home renovation, laundries for clients. I do not think I like it. I don't really like that stainless steel look in the laundry. So these come in white and in black, and I really like the finish of it. Again, it's got sort of like a matte finish as well. And it's a bit dirty because my son does model making and he makes a mess in my white sink. Black probably would have been a better choice for me. Yeah, I like the white finish of it. The tap is from Reese, and it's the Sussex Scala range, and it's in a gun metal finish. And then shout out to Thank You Hand Wash. You guys probably already know all about them, but I really like their bottles. I think they look really nice. I like the black and white because, you know, I'm into black and white. But also they donate their profits or a portion of their profits to help build sanitary things like toilets and provide like sanitation for developing countries. So I really like that cause, and it's really, you know, you've got to have hand wash. So that's a really good cause. The windows in here we are going to do when we need to change them because they're super ugly. They're those like brown aluminium windows. So we are going to change those. I'll probably do glass louvers in here, I think, when we eventually, because we've got the whole back of the house to change the windows and doors on, so I'll do that at that time. And yeah, I think I'll do glass louvers, I'm thinking, or maybe like anyway, I'm not sure what I'm going to do there yet, but they definitely need to be changed. Above there, we've got this hanging rail. So this is because I don't do any hanging out of my washing. But I do live in activewear for most of my life because I do a lot of exercise, as many of you would know if you've been around here in my community for a while. So I pretty much always have activewear hanging on here because I don't want that going in the dryer. So that's usually chockers with that sort of thing. I've got the little hangers there for my little people's clothes and then the bigger hangers for adults' clothes. But this hanging rack has got like a leather strap, which is really nice, and the wooden rod. So it just sort of is a point of interest in the laundry, but it's very functional as well. And that's from H&G Designs. So they've got really nice things with wood and leather. They do all different sorts of things. So check them out if you haven't heard of them before. And then the tiles here for the splashback, they are also from Di Lorenzo. They are called the Kit Kat, and they have just a white grout, and the actual tile itself has that grey edge to it. So it's the, there's the tile, and then we've got the white grout that's gone between it. Now, I wouldn't normally in a project put a massive PowerPoint in the middle of a beautiful feature wall of tiles like that. But as I said, I was on a budget doing this laundry, and because of that, we already had a PowerPoint in that position. And so I just decided that it's quite functional, to be honest. We can plug stuff in as we need it when we're in the laundry. And I'm just willing to survive with the PowerPoint being there. But ideally, don't have a PowerPoint sitting in the middle of your feature walls. I definitely wouldn't do that if I was working with a client. What else? Here we go. We've got this really nice little shelf as well. Now this has absolutely no function. This is purely for decorative purposes. And on there I've got like a fake plant that I think I picked up from Freedom maybe, and that's in a little black and white basket, which I've got here as well. I think they might be from IKEA, actually, those little baskets, or maybe Freedom, I'm not sure, but they're nice. And then I just stuck the little plant in there. Some Bondi wash stuff just because it looks nice. I will get around to using it at some point. And then just a few other bits and pieces. The shelves themselves are the string pocket. So the string system is really nice. I use that all the time. You can do like full walls of this stuff. This is just the pocket, so it's just the tiny one. But the big system, it's a classic design. It was designed in the 1950s, and it sort of secures to the wall, as you can see, and then has these like shelves that you can change and adjust as you want to. And I absolutely love it. It has desk systems and cabinets and drawers and all different sorts of things. So I love this system. I use it all the time, but it just looks really nice in here. I thought it just was a bit of something extra to put in the laundry because it otherwise looked a bit boring. This little setup here has some wooden pegs in it that I never use because I don't ever hang the washing out. They are purely to look at. The little thing, the little basket thing, I think was from Kmart from memory. And these little canisters are also from Kmart, I'm pretty sure. This one normally has the washing detergent in it, but it's empty at the moment. We're using washing powder, it normally has washing powder in it, but we're using detergent at the moment. So that's empty, and this has got the nappy sand in it. So they just look sort of nice, don't they? What else do you want to know? I bet lots of you will ask me what the depth of this cabinet is, and that's actually something worth talking about. So I normally do them at 700. So let's see if I am, yep, so 692. So the reason for that in a laundry, so you'd probably know the standard depth normally for a bench would be around 600. In a laundry, don't forget that when you have a washer and a dryer that has to be plumbed, like condenser dryers do, that you need to be able to have that access behind for the plumbing and the plug and all of that sort of stuff to fit. So if you don't allow for that with 100 mil or so behind the washer dryer with your extra bit of bench top, you'll end up with your washing machine and your dryer sticking out past your bench top, which looks super ugly. So keep that in mind when you're designing, just to make sure. And then they obviously then come in through this little cabinet, which is a bit messy, but that's okay. And they like, if you can see at the back there, they sort of like screw in at the back there and are plumbed in at the back. So speaking of under here, the one thing, first of all, these are like just got a shark nose pull to them. So there's just nothing tricky about that, but just ask for a shark nose pull if you want to have that finger pull. And then I always measure my bucket to make sure that my bucket has somewhere to live. I can't stand it when you make functional spaces like laundries and then you move into your laundry and you don't have anywhere for your bucket to go because you actually forgot all about it. So think about all the things that you need in your laundry, your ironing board, your vacuum, your bucket, all your functional things that you use in a laundry, and make sure that they all have a space. Ideally, I'd love to have a pull-out laundry hamper as well, but we just didn't have the space in here, and I'll show you what I put in there. I could have probably fit one in the tall cupboards there, but I did other stuff in there instead, so I'll show you there instead, and we've got the laundry hampers upstairs, so that's fine. These little baskets are quite handy because they make it look a little bit neater in there. I probably should have tidied them up a bit before I showed you guys, but if you're just cleaning the house or whatever, you can pull the whole basket out, which is handy. They were from Howard Storage World, I'm pretty sure. So they're quite handy. So that's under there. Also make sure when you've got under sink spaces, sometimes the joiners won't put in a shelf for you. They'll just leave you with like that huge gaping space. If you have a shelf, look how much I can fit under there. So it's super handy. So make sure you always include a shelf as well. If they need to cut, they can cut around all the pipe work if they need to as well. So don't think that just because you've got pipe work that you can't fit a shelf. So that's that cupboard. See, when you get joinery made by joiners that are not very expensive, you end up with details that annoy me, probably that you guys wouldn't necessarily pick up on, and other people, normal people, wouldn't necessarily pick up on. But here you can see, I hate that this bench top does not line with the front profile of this tall cabinetry. So it's those little details that if you spent the money on an expensive joiner or a better joiner, you wouldn't end up with details like that. Because obviously when I drew that and gave the drawings to the joiner, that's not what I had drawn. I wanted the whole thing, the profile of it. So they're the little things, and like things like just how all of this lines up and things like that. I would prefer it not to look like that, basically. But I can cope with that for the cost that we paid for it. All right, let's move on to these tall cabinets. So they go floor to ceiling, and they've got a kick at the bottom. And the kick is 100 mils high, just in case you're interested. And let's have a look at what I included. These handles, so these are ceramic handles, and I absolutely love them. But because this is very functional space, and my son does model making and the kids do painting and all that sort of stuff, they have got dirty really quickly. So that's just something to keep in mind if you go with something that's got like a natural finish to it. I absolutely love them though. They're from, I'll have to remember where they're from. I think they're called no, I don't even want to say because I don't know. I'll look those up and put them in the comments. But the good thing about handles like this is that when you've just got one screw, eventually if they start to look too feral, what I can do is actually just swap out and get a different handle, and they'll be really easy to change. If you get something like a pull that has like a top screw and a bottom screw, you're pretty much stuffed in terms of getting those changed, because you'll be stuck with the drill holes that you've already got. You can see how dirty my cabinets are too from the kids and the painting, so sorry about that. All right, and then inside the cabinets, we have this one where I got like a bank of drawers in there with some shelves above. And then the next one, I'll show you what's in there. It's basically the tall storage. So I've got just all your normal laundry stuff, the sewing kit and the shoe shining, kids paint work stuff. I don't even know what's in the top boxes. So that sort of stuff. We've got the ironing in that basket there. It's overflowing because we never iron, and my husband doesn't very often wear work shirts anymore. Got the kids, one of the kids' swimming bags, but also here we've got the hand vac plugged in, which is super handy. So always remember to put some power in the back of your cupboards in the laundry. This could be handy for charging iPads, or the hand vac like this, or I don't know, if you had the blower for outside and you need to charge it, or the drill that you need to keep charged, whatever. So always having a bit of power in the back of your cupboards is a super, super handy idea. And then in the drawers, just in case you're interested, because I always like sticky beaking in people's drawers, the top drawer is all the medical stuff and this first aid kit. All the kids know where that is. The whole family knows where that is, so that we can access that in an emergency if we ever need to. This little box is cute, isn't it? I think that's from Kmart as well, actually. But it's like just a little medical kit thing, so I really like that. I should have that on the bench. It's actually quite nice. Or up on the shelf. Good idea. Think about that. The next drawer is our hats drawer, because we have so many people in our family and so many hats. So I don't know where you keep all your hats, but I have a dedicated drawer for them. Next one is all the swimming stuff, because our pool's just out there, and also we just keep it all together because then we know where everything is, all the goggles and all of that sort of stuff, splashies. And then the bottom one is the pool towels. And because, again, I have OCD, they all match. And I think, yeah, they're from Kmart as well. I think they were quite inexpensive, but I've got heaps of them. So if we've got people who come around for a swim, then there's heaps of towels and plenty for everyone, and they match out by the pool. So that's that cupboard. And then the other cupboard is all for the tall storage stuff. So we've got, again, a second area. So I've got my other vacuum, my tall Dyson, and I've got power at the back of this cupboard somewhere behind the blazers where I charge that non-stop. This is I've got like a little rack for the indoor hanging up thing. You know, this thing like folds out, so that's quite handy. And then the mop and the mop bucket. So that all fits. And then the ironing board, obviously, and then also the boys hang their blazers in here because that just helps them to know where to hang their blazers rather than screw them up and shove them in the cupboard with their school bags. So I guess I could probably have fit some kind of laundry hamper in here potentially, but anyway, I just didn't. That's the thing that's missing in this laundry that I regret. Up here we've got the iron, we've got some more baskets that are just storing various things. We've got the other vacuum, we've got another vacuum that we store elsewhere, and that's the bags for that vacuum. So this is just our day-to-day run around sort of vacuum, and then the other one is stored elsewhere. And then we've got all the iron and all of that sort of stuff. So I think, what else maybe have I not told you? I haven't told you the cabinetry colour. So this is Lexicon Half, and the walls are also Lexicon Half. So I almost always, if you've been around here for a while, it's definitely my go-to white. It's just like white. Basically, it's like a tin of white with a drop of black, a literal drop of black paint in it. So it's just not white. So yeah, Lexicon Half for the walls, the trims, and the cabinetry. So I hope you found that interesting and helpful. And behind this door is our spare bathroom, our downstairs bathroom. I will do a tour another day of that space because this video is getting a little bit long. But I hope you found that helpful. Let me know if you've got any questions about your own renovation for your own laundry or kitchen or anything like that. I'd love to do other videos of things that are helpful for you guys. So let me know in the comments if you have any other questions or anything. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.